Welcome, everyone, to episode 64 of the Geeks with Wives and Capes. I am your host, Darth Sparrow, and today we are minus our other intrepid, fearless leader, Mr. Casey Walsh, because it's his anniversary. So we want to wish the boss man a happy anniversary. We hope he's doing something swanky and romantical for his lady.
Definitely don't want him panicking about this podcast being late.
That's right. Hey, you know what? And we're a little late, but hey, you know what? Sometimes greatness takes time, and we like to consider ourselves great and awesome. So hey, sometimes we got to take a little extra time to make the extra magic happen. So thank you for being patient, all of you. As always, I'm joined by my awesome team of co-hosts, returning once again to grace us with her lovely presence and a very lovely purple creature outfit. The lovely Ms. Piper Steed. Piper, welcome back. How are you? We missed your face.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I'm really disappointed I didn't get to be there, but what a day that was.
Yeah, we heard. We're glad you're alive and still looking lovely as always with your awesome pink hair.
Thanks. And I've got to tell you, like, the Volkswagen Beetles are tiny, but holy crap, are they little tanks.
Yeah, I would imagine so, man. You
I
could do some damage with one of those things.
Yeah, I looked at all the stuff that I mowed down, and my bug
Left a
didn't
trail
look
of
all
carnage and
too
chaos.
hurt for it. Yeah, man, it was a little tank.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was a little tank that I really should have taken repairs more seriously on when I needed them.
Hey, you know
So
what? Live and you learn, right? What are you gonna do?
yeah. And it
Well,
was weird picking up pieces of it on the trail, like because there are plastic parts in the front.
sure.
And so it was like really sad, like picking up these pieces behind it.
Yeah. Awesome. That's crazy. Well, we're glad you're alive and well and with us again. Scare
Yeah,
me like that.
thank you.
You scared me like that ever again.
Aw.
And next to Miss Piper, our awesome comic book reviewer extraordinaire, all the way from the lovely land of Sweden, at all of like 5 o'clock in the morning. Bigger trooper than I am, Mr.
Yep.
Everett. Everett, how are you, man?
I'm doing okay. Once again, it's super early, and I am here, so.
For those people who are listening and not watching, what's the shirt you're rocking today? Golden Age Lantern.
Yeah, the Golden Age Green Lantern. I just got a lot of feedback.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sorry.
did too.
Okay. Yeah, the Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone.
Ooh, that was a tornado.
Megatron has been attempting to hack our podcast tonight, and he's so
yeah.
far unsuccessful.
Oh, there we go.
Let's start talking a little bit about what we read this week. There was a lot of good, awesome comic stuff. Definitely a lot of stuff still tied in with Axis. Or hold on.
Hello, is this better?
Russell! We have Russell! Yay!
Woo!
Yay!
Yay.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
Woo!
Everyone, tonight we are finally able to present to you with our awesome special guest. He's the creative
Right.
director over at DreamLords Digital, Mr. Russell Tomas. Russell, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me here at the show.
Hey, of course, man. We're super excited to have you because you got some cool stuff you're working on that we really want to talk about.
Thanks. Yeah. We're very excited to share what we have right now.
Awesome, man. So the project is GrayWalkers Purgatory, which is an RPG as well as a comic, correct?
Actually, it's an RPG game. A comic.
Yes.
We're gonna have a comic book, but in addition to that, we're also gonna have a tabletop RPG as part of it as well.
Excellent.
So
Well,
it's a multi-tiered thing, you know.
this is a multimedia like extravaganza.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we're making
Yeah.
sure everybody gets into it.
Awesome. Well, before we dive into that, why don't we talk a little bit about you, Russell? Tell us about how we say in the comic book industry your origin story and how you got started.
Well, origin story is basically after college. My first project or job was actually a comic book creator. I started doing comic books a long time ago, in the mid 90s.
Mhm.
But that was back in the Philippines.
Oh wow.
But at the same time, I also worked a little freelance with a few comic book companies like Image. You know, we worked with Will Sportacio and
Right.
Linneal Yu a bit back then.
That is
Then after that, I
cool.
was more of a colorist back when I
Okay.
started out.
Mm-hmm.
After being a colorist, I went after we released our comic book called Archon.
Mm-hmm.
I got well, we got into more of advertising related stuff because people saw what we were doing. And we got a lot
Sure.
of doing stuff in that area. And then as we moved forward, we went into what was new, which was web at the time. And then so we did web design. And eventually I got tired of that and I
Mm-hmm.
decided to go into gaming.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and that's
Gotcha.
where it all started, when creating the game. Well, we started out, Dreamlords started out about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We started doing mobile games first, but we've always had the plan to do GrayWalkers. It's just that we wanted to get our feet wet and we wanted to learn how to do it properly. So we tried to make sure that everything was more prepared, and that's where we are right now.
Definitely. Backtracking a little bit, what kind of genre, what type of genre comic books did you work on in the Philippines?
The comic book I made actually was superhero sci-fi space opera of some sort.
Okay, very
Um,
cool.
yeah, it's basically in the vein of Guardians of the Galaxy meets Legion of
Ah,
Superheroes kind of thing.
no, very nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome, man. So you're working with doing Dreamlord stuff now. So let's talk about Grey Walkers. Tell us about the story of the game and kind of how the concept came about.
Okay. Actually, Grey Walker started out originally as a graphic novel idea.
Hmm.
Back when I was doing comic books, I started. I wanted to have a project that I could do. Yeah, I could be the one to write about it. Normally, I'm just an artist, but I wanted to have something I could write. So that's where it came out. So the concept initially for Grey Walkers was, it was the modern day times wherein there was a group of individuals who would basically try to save humanity. Think of them as more like superheroes more than anything, but think John Constantine kind of type of superheroes facing demons and stuff like that. And then the game evolved from the idea of what happened if they failed their mission.
Hmm.
So um, initially, we didn't want to make a game that was set in the modern day. It was kind of hard to set it in modern day period. So we thought maybe let's put it in post-apocalyptic setting. So we just made it like the story, what if they failed? And from that failure came this whole line of stories which wherein the rupture happened. This event basically merged parts of heaven and hell with earth, bridging everything all together, making basically bringing the war between angels and demons down to our very doorsteps. So
Gotcha.
that's the base concept for that. Now, the area where the game happens is called Purgatory. It's not the real biblical, or what you call this, the purgatory we know of, but more of, they called it purgatory because at that point, heaven and hell was merged. So with earth being in the middle, that was the only area left wherein majority of the human race was, shall we say, not under the yoke of the demons.
Right.
Purgatory was made up of displaced locations from all over the world,
Hmm.
and they all congregated in the Bermuda Triangle. It sort of became like an astral net where all the lands that were moved from where they originally came from were, shall we say, caught together. Like the
Hmm.
idea was, if a piece of heaven appeared on earth, it obviously cannot be in the same place as, two things cannot occupy the same place. So one
Right.
was displaced out, and that's where it ended up. It would end up in the Bermuda Triangle, and all of these land masses from all around the world created that new continent, basically the right smack in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, which
Yeah,
eventually became Purgatory.
yeah. I was wondering about that because when I wrote the preview for it today, I wrote what you guys did, that it was magically displaced, and I was thinking, like, does that mean that, like, a piece, like, in the middle of Africa might have just, like, warped to Bermuda, and then, like...
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So just, like,
Exactly.
different...
Different locations all in one place. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so you're gonna have a good mix of characters from all around. Because I know
Right.
you have like different races. You have like the half angels and half werewolves, half demons.
Yeah.
Piper,
Yeah, I
Piper,
like the.
so Piper's a half demon tonight.
I'm a wolfkin.
Wolfkin.
Purple wolfkin.
Cute Wolfkin.
Yeah.
So they're you know, lately I've read a few comics that seem a lot to deal with, you know, the whole possibility of a big war between angels and demons. Why do you think this concept is so popular kind of right now?
I think it's the whole. I think it's become. I think it started more when the supernatural became more acceptable in pop culture.
Yeah.
And I think as people always found that interesting. It's just that it was never pop culture. It was just it was not that popular. But now that it's been accepted, especially with zombies, that's all part of the same idea of end of the world situation. What happens? I guess in some way we're feeling that our world as it is now is getting somewhat close to that, at least in some ways, in some parts of the world. So it's becoming more something that they can accept, more than
Sure.
anything.
Yeah,
So I think that's what's making it a bit more popular right now.
you guys took like the whole monster mash of creatures and put them in your story. Like, not only do you have vampires and zombies and werewolves, but you have like demons and angels and these half breeds that I'm guessing are mixed with humans, and then you have normal humans. And then you
Yeah.
have like these meta-humans that are called the GrayWalkers, right?
Well, yeah, the GrayWalkers are basically it was based on the legend of originally they were not only 36. My original plan was the GrayWalkers was basically people who were gifted beyond the norm. Throughout history, there were always been GrayWalkers, but I've shifted the story a bit and I've linked it to the legend of the 36. Are you familiar with that, guys?
No, that's the
Uh,
one thing I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, I wanted to ask
yeah.
about that too. I was curious.
The legend of the 36 is actually, I believe, a Jewish legend wherein there are 36 hidden ones, individuals who are destined to basically protect the world. There's always 36 of them all around the world at one time, and as one dies, another one is born, and each one in the original context as it was, it says that they are people who have shifted and basically, to some degree, affected history. So, for example, they're a mix of warriors, scientists, scholars, each of them discovering, doing something that changes the world one little way or another, and each one of these creating discoveries that push humanity forward. So I took that concept and basically just gave them a little bit of meta-human push with the idea, thinking that think of them, the 36, as humanity's how shall we call it, antibodies.
Okay.
So basically they adapt to whatever trouble is there, whatever is needed to fix the problem. The world in nature will produce them somehow with the new generation as it comes along.
Yeah,
So that's where the idea comes from.
I was about to say, if whenever one dies, another one's reborn, like, it doesn't matter what kind of catastrophe happens on Earth, there's still going to be 36
Right,
somewhere
exactly.
in the
There's
world.
always going to be 36 somewhere in the world, right?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Uh,
I've got a
Yeah.
question.
Sure.
If you can play as different races when you initially create your character, there's still a Grey Walker, right? So
Yes.
Grey Walkers can span multiple races too.
Yes.
Okay.
As long as Yeah. The only rule is they somewhat have to have a part of. They have to be part of the human race. And the way I put it, even the hybrids, somehow they are still Grey Walkers because they may be half human, half vampire, but there's that human side of them, making them still viable candidates for saving humanity, or representing. They represent basically.
That's awesome.
Russell, I was taking a look at a lot of the concept images for the different characters, and you have a huge, just amazing list of very diversified, very unique creatures, humans, angels. What kind of things inspired you, in your career as a comic book creator, as a game developer, that kind of influenced the game and its characters? Like, were you into monsters as a kid? Were you into comic books?
I was very much into comic books, and the supernatural always somehow, it was something I've always liked. I've always liked vampires when they weren't still very popular. All the zombies. I wasn't much into the blood and gore, but I liked a lot of the werewolf stuff. Even the classic ones, and basically I just reimagined them in a more modern way. So yeah, that's I loved all those stuff back when I was young, and I guess it's somehow carried over. Um, so that's pretty much this is a dream project, I guess, for me. Actually, I don't know if we didn't mention it, but when we were creating Grey Walkers to begin with, we originally planned it to be an MMO. This is why we have so much material prepared, is
Right.
because we basically created the entire world before we even started developing stuff, because we were thinking it was going to be an MMO. So, but now that we shrank the game and basically made it just into one continent, and we're gonna have everything one there. So we now have a lot more material to work with, and we have characters that are more, shall we say, worked out in terms of background and personality.
I think you guys did a good choice. I feel like the MMO is on the decline, so
Right.
where I think the turn-based RPGs are kind of gaining some life back. So I think that was a good call.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
Thank
So,
you.
so
Yeah.
for a guy who's not a gamer like me, guys, can you explain what a turn-based RPG is?
go for it,
Who
Piper.
who do you want to explain it?
Anybody who's up for it.
Turn-based RPG means that each character, like, or enemy, if you're attacking and stuff like that, goes one at a time.
Okay.
So you can formulate strategy instead of hacking and slashing your way through stuff. You have to think a little, and you have to strategize what you're gonna do with your characters to get through the fight.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right. Exactly.
Very cool. There's a couple of characters specifically I wanted to ask you about, Russell.
Sure.
Particularly, you have a couple of different classes of angels specifically, and rather than
Right.
kind of going just having the more, I guess you could say, stereotypical angel with the two wings, you have some, for example, like a seraphim who almost looks like it has like 8 wings almost.
Six
So kind
wings.
of
Actually,
6 wings, yeah.
yeah. The traditional seraphim actually really does have 6 wings.
Oh, does
If
it?
you, yeah, if you check the Bible, they are described as having 6 wings.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind
Six
of curious
wings and a
about that.
fiery body. That's pretty much, and that's where we based it from.
Yeah,
We
that's very
tried
cool.
to get a lot of research from the Bible and
Right.
put a lot of them into the game, but without really going too much into the religion side of it, but
Sure.
more of like getting the concept of it, because there's a lot of really cool concepts and ideas there. So people don't know this, but I was supposed to become a priest. I actually spent four. I was supposed to. I spent 4 years in the seminary wanting to be a priest,
Wow.
but then there was that geek part of me too. So somehow when I left the seminary, but while I was in the seminary planning to be a priest, I was actually reading a lot of comic books too. So
That's
by the yeah, so by the time I left, the combination of all what I went through and all this stuff I learned, it it's I guess that yeah. Now that I've reminded of it, that's really one of the biggest influence also. Why this is the genre or the theme of the game that we created.
right.
because a lot of it comes from experience and knowledge that I basically was ingrained into me. So, but I wanted to make it cool, you know. So suddenly, yeah, let's make it cool. These concepts of all these concepts from the Bible. Let's make it something that people in the, who are not religious necessarily can accept the concepts. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get in trouble for reading comics in seminary school?
I had to hide it. Yeah, I had to hide it. It was stuck under my clothes.
Come on. I was saying, you've got a priest character in your game, and I know it's based off you. You were like sharpening your crucifix to make it a dagger.
Yeah. Actually, it's very Now that you know that I came from the same, it's now clear that Reuben is actually it's the first. It's Russell Benjamin, which is actually my name, Russell Benjamin. So Ruben. So
that's awesome.
Yes, that is basically my character.
That's so rad.
Cool.
Yeah, that's basically who I was supposed to be. It's this to give you a little background on the character. Father Reuben basically became a priest, but then he was actually drafted into the military and became a chaplain. Again, this reflects back on my life because after the seminary, my father, who's a general, wanted to throw me into the military school and wanted to be a military guy just like him. So all of this comes out. Yeah, that's basically. So even after the seminary, even though I did not go into the military, my dad, growing up, had us go through training. Like we imagine I was like 14, had to go through counter-terrorist training at 14.
Wow.
It's weird. Being in the Philippines, it's really weird. But yeah, that's pretty much we had a weird childhood. So we had a really weird childhood. Yeah. Trust me, if I tell you the whole story, it'll really be weird.
I don't know about you guys, but I think Russell's story right there would make an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Almost a priest trained in martial art in military tactics. Yeah, I mean, like, what else?
Almost like a superhero, right?
Awesome game and, Exactly, man.
Yeah, I know.
That would make a pretty neat comic.
Weird childhood.
Well, since you've told us about Reuben, I'm kind of curious about. I think her name's Atlanta. That has
Atalanta.
Yeah, she's got the, looks like she's got like a giant machine gun, but then she also has her purse on her side with a Pomeranian sticking out of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's based on... I saw that Pomeranian, and I was like, yeah, that's who I'm going to be playing.
Well, yeah, that's, again, many of the characters that we've developed harken back to ideas that came from friends, because some of the original concepts we did were actually cosplay concepts. I had the photo shoot. We wanted concepts that would work in real life, so we got everybody to get real clothes and wear them, and basically that's where the ideas came from. Like there's this character there, 12-gun Terry. She's like my business partner, and then we have some other character. Yeah, she's my business partner. So, and that's her actual outfit for the cosplay when we did the photo shoot. Nice. So she's like, no, you're not gonna change that. That's exactly my costume. That's how I want it to be. So that's what she said.
Okay, well, you said you used to be a priest, and so you based Reuben on that. Who is Nun based off of? I'm guessing.
Oh, the Nun. The Nun. The Nun's not actually based upon from somebody, but the name.
Sure, she isn't.
The name is based on. The name is based on the nun that took care of us in the seminary. The two nuns. It's actually, yeah. So nice. So it's like, yeah, we were close to her. So it's like, okay, in honor of the nun who took care of me. So I named it after her.
Yeah, she looks like a badass.
Yeah.
She is.
I have a guy moment every once in a while when I'm looking at your characters and I see a very nicely dressed looking woman. So tell us about this character of Texas. Like, was that based off of anybody in your life? Like,
where does
this cowgirl come from all of a sudden?
You gotta have a cowgirl.
Yeah, right?
Well, you gotta have a cowgirl. You know, I had the choice: cowgirl, cowboy. You know,
Mhm.
cowgirl was better. You know, so if you notice, a lot of our characters are girls.
Yeah,
There seems to be an abundance of more girls, and I've always liked the idea of having very strong female characters.
sure.
So
Thank you
that's
much.
why we have.
I know
Yeah,
Piper
so a
likes
lot
that
of
too.
Yes, I appreciate that.
yeah, actually, yeah, a lot
And
of the
they're not
coolest
scantily
characters in
clad
this.
either, so.
Yeah. I think we only have one or two scantily clad, and there's even a reason why they are. So, you know,
Yeah,
we
that
had to have at least
I don't
somebody.
mind. Yeah.
You're like, ding.
So,
That's cool. That's cool, man. So generally, as far as the game is involved, like, what's the main driving force? Like, what's the goal you're trying to accomplish in the game?
a character, I mean, your
Yeah.
goal, at least the first part of the story, is the main thing is for you to gather the 36. Obviously, the first part of the game, you will have to find them. Even gathering your team is the quest in itself.
Hmm.
So when you gather all 36, basically everybody's bonus powers go up
Okay.
to some degree. Um, so that's one of the things we were thinking that will motivate the players also to start looking for them. Only when you have at least most of the 36 will it be viable to start going after the big game, as you might know, the big bosses and stuff like that. Long term, the goal for you is really to gather all the factions to
Hmm.
back you up. Because in Purgatory, there's a lot of factions,
Yeah.
each one having their own agenda. It's pretty much a medieval period already. You know, you have settlements. Each one has their own rules. Each one has their own way of doing things. But in the end, all of them that you want as a player is to convince everybody to back you up in fighting the war against basically against the denizens of hell and try to take back the world that you lost to them.
Right.
Now, the main
Right.
bad guy, he straight up looks like Satan on steroids. Uh, is his name Orcus? Is that the main bad guy of the series, or is he just
um he's just one of the bad guys.
okay? Okay.
Yeah. We're for the bad guys. We're there's a lot of different bad guys, but for the main series, we're keeping that secret for now.
Okay.
Mm.
But you'll discover it as you come along. Yeah.
Have you revealed the bad guys like the demons' motivation? Are they just wanting to wipe out life, or do they hate life, or
Well, actually, the motivations of the demons are. Think about it this way. Demons were in hell. Suddenly, they have a way to get to Earth, and they can actually and they become mortal because the concept is when everybody who goes onto earth somehow becomes mortal. That brings two things to mind. One, they become vulnerable, but two, they start to be able to feel the things that mortals feel: hunger, pleasure,
Yeah.
rage. Basically, they start. Normally, demons and angels are very singular in their minds of what they're meant for. But
Sure.
now there is suddenly it's like similar to what's happening in Supernatural. If you guys watch it, like the angels fell
Yes.
on Earth, um,
Yeah.
they suddenly feel
Okay.
all these things, and it's that feeling. Suddenly they have sort of free will. They suddenly can do stuff that normally they're supposed to do this only. Even for the angels, it's the same thing.
Right.
They're having now that choice. Like, do I want to? I like it here. I can die, but now I feel pleasure. Bottom line, in the world of GrayWalkers, angels and demons are technically spirits. Whenever they're all spirits, they're not really physical. So whenever they come in, it's really they go to Earth. It's really like a joy. It's like a holiday for all of them, basically. But now instead of it a holiday, it's a permanent holiday. This is their new home. They can
Yeah.
just cross over anytime they want. You know.
Yeah.
so?
Gotcha.
I'm guessing they just like they straight up just eat someone. They're like, oh, what is this sensation? These guys taste so
Yeah. Well,
good.
yeah. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty
Yeah.
much it. Okay.
That's
That
exactly
is
what it is,
awesome.
right?
I don't know why, for some reason, that just called to mind a really crappy movie, Little Nicky, where they're like teaching him how to eat. Do you guys remember
Oh
that
my
stupid movie?
gosh.
It's like,
Yeah, I
and then you
remember
let it go
that.
down your mouth hole.
That is the only thing I can remember from Little Nicky is that.
Yeah.
I can. The only thing I can remember is his hair.
Yeah.
It's stupid voice.
Flock of seagull hairdo.
I just remember it being like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, it's the voice, but it's the voice saying that particular line that I remember.
That's awesome. So Russell, you have a Kickstarter going on for this project,
Yep,
correct?
we do.
Why don't you
Right.
tell us a little bit about that?
We're currently at 54% to our goal. We're trying to raise $40,000. And right now we still have 18 days to go, and we're at 55%, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully, with everything we're trying to do, we'll get more people to check out the game, and hopefully get them to pledge, and hopefully we'll be able to reach our goal and beyond, so that we can do all the cool stuff we've really planned for the game.
Right.
Now, the good thing is, all we need is actually just to reach the goal. If we reach the goal, we'll be able to convince also some of our potential investors to put in additional money beyond what we make from Kickstarter,
Right.
which should hopefully propel us further in development. So we're trying to do a lot of things. Obviously, $40,000 isn't as big if you think about it. But we're using that as our springboard to be able to get more money and more support from investors.
And for the listeners of this show, if the game doesn't meet its goal, the comic's not going to be a thing. So if you're liking the story and the stuff that we're talking about, you need to support the game just as much as the comic. So
Yeah,
Yes,
get on
yes,
that
please.
because I really, really want to play the full version of this so bad. It needs to happen.
and I
Thank
really,
you. That is-
yeah. I mean, and the artwork that you guys have for both the game and the comic is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure the artists will be very happy to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of the artwork you guys have is better than a lot of like Marvel and DC comics nowadays. So I mean,
Well,
you guys,
I'm sure they'll be happy for that.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see that, but that's some cool stuff you guys have on the Kickstarter page there.
yeah, and we posted a few pictures on our. We posted a lot of pictures on the Geeks with Wives website as well on our GrayWalkers articles that you could check out.
Very,
Right.
yeah.
We'll check it out.
Nice plug there, Everett. I like that. real quick before we go on to our next segment, everybody loves Kickstarter because there's always cool incentives. What kind of incentives are you guys offering for people who back your project?
Well, we have for those who back it, we kept the access to the alpha very low, so people can aside from the cool stuff, we got a lot of cool giveaways and stuff that we're gonna give away at the higher tiers. But at the lower tiers, we're making sure that people can come in and be part of the alpha right away, because we want to have a lot of testers. We want to have be able to let people try the game early on, because we really want to hear what people have to say about the game. We want to get as much feedback as we can, so we can create a game that everybody will be really happy with. We've been getting a lot of good feedback from the demo that we've released, and even from there, we've already started to learn what people are looking for, and we're slowly doing some of the changes already as we move along. So, also, I think we made it there. If you pledge like $100 at least, you're going to be invited to the party in Las Vegas. Come on, who doesn't want to go to Las Vegas and party?
Party
there.
Party in the real purgatory.
Yeah, party, exactly.
Genius.
That's awesome.
Maybe if it was in Bermuda, I would.
Yeah.
You should have like a Bermuda party for the people that do like.
Several thousand. We fly.
We'll probably
straight
never
to
come back
Bermuda.
from that one, though.
The party that nobody comes back from.
Yes.
Nobody comes back
You
from.
have to be
Yeah.
around to see the game and stuff, right?
Yeah, because demons will eat you.
Yes.
Well, Russell, I for one am super excited about this. The story is just super cool. The characters are very rich and vibrant, and it just seems like it's kind of one of those awesome games that has some kind of character that everybody will want to play as. So
Right.
we're really sending our good vibes and mojo that your
Thank
project
you.
gets fulfilled, man, because it needs to happen.
Yes, yes.
For,
We're
for,
hoping
for
that it does happen.
Yes. I mean, come on, listen to this guy's story. It's awesome. This brings us to our next topic, Russell. If we would love to have you talk a little bit of comics with us. This is
Sure.
our segment we call "What We Read This Week" or "Watched" or whatever. And I
We need
am
a
wearing
better name for that.
I am wearing a GWW T-shirt. I'm just promoting the cause. Yes, thank you guys.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to turn it over first to our resident comic reviewer extraordinaire, Mr. Everett. Talk to us. What is new in the world of comics for you this week?
Oh Lord. Well, I did a review on the DC's Trinity of Sin #1 because it was the only #1 they have this week. I don't know if any of you guys know anything about these characters. I think it was Pandora, the Phantom, Stranger, and the Question, but I absolutely had no. Do you know about them, Piper?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I have no idea who they are because I don't read DC that much, and
They're pretty weird. Honestly, that's a weird
Yeah.
bunch.
yeah,
They're on the Vertigo side of the story, I think.
Yeah.
If you would think about it. Yeah.
and well, I picked the book up because it was kind of weird. It was, it wasn't Batman, it wasn't Superman. I was like, well, this kind of sounds kind of like I don't know, like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen meets Suicide Squad type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I picked it up, and it was pretty cool. They've got it. They don't really go into who they are as much as someone that hasn't read them before probably would want, but the story's intriguing. So it's basically like these little Aztec demons are coming, like the Trinity of Sin are trying to make a new life for themselves to where they're kind of going to live the rest of their life out peacefully without bothering anyone, and all of a sudden these demons come and attack them from out of nowhere, and they're not sure why, and they realize that all three of them are linked together, and I don't know, it sounds kind of cool. So yeah, I read that. I read The Death of Wolverine, which I don't know if you guys want to go into that right now or if you want to save it, but
I haven't read him, so you can spoil away.
Okay. Well, yeah, basically, we were talking last time when I was wondering, I wonder if Wolverine actually is going to die.
Yeah.
And he seemingly does die. He gets covered in adamantium, like molten adamantium,
Nice.
and basically gets turned into a statue, which I don't think that would actually kill Wolverine. He's got like a little, like they're saying that his healing factor's gone, but if he has a little bit, he'll still be alive in that adamantium.
That's enough to sustain
Yeah.
him, right?
Right. So I think they set it up so that he could come back.
Yeah.
But
He's gonna
yeah,
make some big miraculous return or something.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't like, I don't know who else has died recently in comics. Let's say it wasn't like a weird brutal death to where I don't know how he would come back from it. Like this one, I can kind of see how he's going to come back. But yeah, they just like the comics title. It's not that big of a spoiler. Wolverine died.
Yeah. Dude, why are you telling people that? We didn't know he was gonna die.
I mean,
Oh man.
the comic
Oh,
book
man.
of Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then the last comic I really read was The Edge of Spider-Verse #5. It basically had like, who was it? It was like this little girl who could get inside a like kaiju of Spider-Man, basically. It's like a Spider-Man robot.
Spider kaiju.
Yeah, that kind of had
Spider
Spider-Man.
kaiju.
It had Spider-Man powers, and I feel like the little girl might have spider DNA in her, and that's why she's like the only one able to control it. But it does feature a few of the other Spider-Man, which is cool. It has the what's his name, like the Edge of Tomorrow Spider-Man or whatever, the one wearing like the collared jacket, and then it also has Spider-Ham in it, who's one of the best Spider-Man. So
Spider who?
Spider-Ham, the pig.
The
Spider
pig.
Ham?
Yeah, he's the pig
Oh my God,
Spider-Man.
Spider Pig!
Are you talking about Spider Pig?
And then they have Iron Mouse.
Whenever a Spider Pig dies.
Yeah.
Ooh, Spider Pig.
Spider-Pig is awesome.
That's too rad, man.
Yeah, so that's
I want to read it now just for Spider Pig.
Yeah, read anything Spider-Pig. You'll
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I read, though.
Awesome. Thank you, Everett. Piper, what have you been perusing? Tantalizing your eyes with?
Well, I managed to read like on ComicsFix. I read Logan's Run because I remember watching that movie when I was really, really little and understood like half of it. So I thought it would be really cool to read the comic, and now I want to watch the movie again because I'm reading the comic going, I don't think it went like that. So I had to go watch the movie again. But it was really good. I loved it. They switched artists a few times, and I liked most of them. But well, one of them looked like it was meant to be more of like a web comic than I don't know, a print comic with the style it was done, I think. So it threw me off. But the original, when it's following like the original story, it's good. But then they go beyond that and like make up a bunch of stuff in the aftermath. And so the more I read, the worse it got. It was like I liked the first aftermath thing. It was pretty neat, and then from there it was like it kind of lost continuity hardcore, because it was like characters are here when they weren't there before, and years have gone by, but apparently this baby's just not going to age in the slightest and stuff like that. So the original was awesome. I also started reading Sex Criminals. I don't think I've read enough to form an opinion. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Gotcha.
So I think is going to have to read more. But a really important thing I read, which I should probably take it out of this thing. And this is really cool. It's also a shameless plug for stuff.
What is it?
I read Split.
Ooh.
And it was done really neat. It's let me look through here. Drew me a little picture. Mira Mortal is the one that made up the story. And there's a preview to actually another one of her stories in the back that I believe she is doing the art for.
Okay.
I believe. But I'm trying not to give it away, but I'm trying to give you like anyway, John Rodriguez is the one that did the artwork for this, and that's not a good page to illustrate it. Let's see. And there's kind of pages. The art style really works for this particular story, but this story is highly visual. There is not anything, leading you from one thing to the next. You don't really know what the characters are thinking. You see the pictures telling the story with a little bit of dialogue. Right. And the ending was really caught me off guard, and I highly recommend it because of that. It's and I'm getting excited for ID. That's there's a preview of in the back of here, and I was able to get this because of their Kickstarter. So I'm really hoping that Split makes it, out there really far and gets noticed, because I think it's really neat, and I hope they get noticed because they're really good at telling stories.
Very cool. That's very cool. What's the?
Oh, and I watched Agents of Shield some more.
Okay, yeah. Oh well, yeah.
And am still in love with it. Their last episode was really freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And really freaking funny. I really love it. But Fitz, man,
He's starting to come back.
he is.
Yeah,
He's
slowly
starting to
coming
really
back.
slowly come
Yeah.
back, and I really hope he can bounce back. But honestly, the condition that they gave him,
Yeah.
you usually don't. So.
You usually got quite a few residuals from that for the rest
Yeah,
of your life.
you do get permanent brain damage from that, and there's not much you can do about it. So he would need like a miracle or something, but at least he's getting in there.
He needs some
like
Cree
that.
blood.
Yes.
Yep, basically.
What was it? GH623 or something or other? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
I didn't know we were.
that?
No, I was gonna
I'm
say
sorry.
I didn't know we were allowed to talk about like what TV shows we were watching during our what.
Yeah, it's now what you read and what you watch, as long as it's like comic related.
Piper jumped on it, so.
Yeah, I was about to say because I watched The Flash and the second
There you go.
episode's amazing.
Oh, okay.
Freaking amazing. That's pretty much it.
My brain died. Agent
I'm
of
liking
Shield is
The
good
Flash.
now. Everybody should give it a second chance.
All I knew is Agent May kicking butt in the silver dress was pretty awesome.
Yes,
really
and
sexy.
That was pretty hot.
you got to kick
Pretty
it.
hot.
It was
Very
pretty
hot.
Yes.
I want more Absorbing Man though. That guy was awesome.
Yeah,
they should bring him back again.
They had him in there so briefly, and I'm like, oh man. But at least they had him in there.
I wanted more Lucy Lawless too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really upset me.
They got us all excited, like, she was going to be on for a while. Lucy Lawless is coming to S.H.I.E.L.D. And they're just like, what, 2 episodes? 1 episode?
One episode.
One episode.
Yeah, I was like, that's...
One episode. But, it was the season premiere, and, the television or TV shows bringing in bigger names for special episodes.
They had to go big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I figured she could stay in there. She would fit so good.
Yeah, I think so, too. That's
She might be really expensive.
Probably.
Could be. It's probably not cheap to get Xena.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to share with us, Miss Piper?
Well, that I was really slow on the uptake on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but now I understand what's going on.
No.
I was really curious and like looking through stuff and trying to figure out, the goo that they got healed with and stuff like that, and I had all these theories. But then more or less when the way they started talking about Sky and stuff, I'm kind of like, you know what, it's all coming together. I see what's going on here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see what they're doing with her dad, but we'll get into that when
I wonder who her dad is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that there's not a direct Guardians of the Galaxy tie-in episode yet. Like, I know it didn't happen on Earth.
Oh yeah, they should.
But I feel like they should have something like Land on Earth that kind of relates.
So, some piece of, like, I don't know, like Ronin's ship or something. I don't know. That'd be cool.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That would be cool, but I could also understand since it happened like pretty far away.
Yeah.
It got burnt up in the atmosphere.
That could happen.
Yeah. Russell, what are you reading this week or watching?
I haven't had much time to read, but ever since the Kickstarter, started. But I have been watching. I've been watching all the superhero stuff: Flash, Arrow, Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all the typical stuff. And I've been loving each episode. This season has been good for pretty much all of them. Yeah. So I'm excited to see where it all goes for each and every one of those shows.
Yeah, Geeksy.
I'm happily surprised with Flash. Actually, I'm happily surprised with Flash.
Flash is so good.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't expecting much from it, because but when I saw it, it's like, okay, this is good.
I
Yeah.
mean, in episode 1 they had Weather Wizard, and then episode 2 they had Multiplex, which is basically
Yeah,
Agent Smith.
multiplex.
Agent Smith.
I was just waiting for him to go,
Agent Smith of the Matrix.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to turn and go, Mr. Allen.
That would have actually been pretty awesome. Nice little shout out.
That's sick. That's awesome, guys. Well, what did I read this week? I don't even know. What did I read? Okay. I read, first off, I read Axis #2. Rick Remender's, big Marvel event that's going on right now. Casey's all about Remender. I can see why. There's a lot of action and like very intense, like fast stuff going on in this comic. For those of you who are not familiar with the Axis, basically all the big heroes in the Marvel Universe are fighting Red Onslaught, who is Red Skull with Professor Xavier's brain.
Xavier. Right.
Yeah, and he's basically triggered a worldwide attack that they're calling World War Hate. So he's putting out these like telepathic waves that are causing everybody's internal hate to just come out, and everybody's wanting to kill each other. So of course all the heroes have to team up. Issue #2 deals a lot with Tony Stark and the Sentinels that he apparently created, but he doesn't remember creating. He remembers dreaming it up and thinking of the concept and how he would make them and how they would work, but he doesn't ever actually remember making them. But here they are, lo and behold, and they're basically killing everybody around. And it was.
Are you talking about like the X-Men Sentinels?
They're kind of like that, but they're different.
Oh, okay, so they're not the actual mutant hunting Sentinels.
Yeah, they're like Stark Tech Sentinels.
Okay, that's all I was wondering.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're they're smarter. They're smarter than X-Men Sentinels because they're
Well,
built by Tony Stark.
I was just wondering if Marvel was trying to grasp back like the Sentinels from the mutant franchise so that they could start using them in their movies and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they kind of were in one way or another, but they dealt with a lot of Stark's inner demons that he has, and really shed some light as his driving force is competition, to always be better than everybody. And a big chunk of why these Sentinels were created, it's kind of very similar to that whole story with Batman, and now he had a contingency plan against all the members of the Justice League. They kind of took a little bit of that element and put it in this story. So Tony kind of had all these different ways to like one up everybody, I guess you could say, all the people around him, all his friends, and he even talks about how really his enemy is kind of humanity. He wants to be better than humanity, I guess. But ultimately, it came down to him feeling like he's never enough. That's why he always feels like he has to be above everything else. So it kind of got deep into the dark parts of Stark's psyche, and kind of deals with that. So a lot of fighting, a lot of people teaming up that have been at odds with each other. Like Cyclops and Havoc. Finally kind of buried the hatchet and realized, hey, if we don't join together, everybody's gonna die. So, yeah, I won't spoil the end, but at the end we get some help from a very unlikely band of, we'll say, heroes with quotation marks. So that probably means they're not heroes, but that was
Spoilers.
Clean that up.
Spoilers. We just don't say who. But tying into that, which might spoil it even more, was Loki, Agent of Asgard #7. If you guys missed the last one, Loki had a nice battle of wits with Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom won and put Loki in this kind of like prison that is void of like time. So Loki can't shift through time. He can't do like his usual trickery. So he's stuck, and of course this whole hate thing happens to make its way to Latveria and starts turning all of Doom's people against each other. So, Loki gets set free by his friend Verity Wills, as well as Doom has his 3-year-old niece, who's like some kind of genius prodigy working for him and doing a lot of stuff for him. So we get to see a lot of her, which just blows my mind. There's a 3-year-old who's like ripping it up on the computer and like talking about like quantum physics and stuff. So, This was a fun little story though, and it's a direct tie into Axis 2, so it might help if you wanna get a little more of the full story to kind of read these two together. So
Well,
what were you gonna say, buddy?
I was gonna say I flipped through that comic. I didn't have time to read it, but before the show I flipped through it, and the end of Loki Agents of Asgard looks amazing and made me want to read it. So
Yeah, the end is very cool. Yeah.
yeah,
So
it looks like a cool comic.
yeah, I like Loki because they deal with some very like heavy elements, about Loki's other half and how he's evil and how he's possibly the cause for total world destruction in the future, but yet they kind of always throw this very funny Loki-esque sense of humor in there. So that's kind of, I think, what makes this comic really fun. But anyways, that's all I read. We're running kind of low on time, but we got to talk about some news because there was a lot of big Marvel news this week on the interwebs. On the webs of inters. Specifically, we'll say the big news about Robert Downey Jr. in talks to be in Captain America 3, and how we're all speculating that
Civil War.
pretty much means Civil War.
They pretty much confirmed that.
Yeah, you know a lot about comics. You probably do, Piper and Russell as well, a little more than I do. What exactly was the Civil War all based around, the Marvel Civil War?
Well,
Registration, I believe.
yeah, the original.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Registration of people with superpowers, and so they were all secret identities.
It all started with my boy Nova and his group. Well, not actually Nova, but his old team, the New Warriors.
Yeah.
The New Warriors.
Yeah, they kind of had a reality TV show going where they would go around and fight crime on TV, and something happened on TV that caused, I think, a couple million people to die.
Wow.
Nitro exploded in a school of kids, died in the process, and that triggered everything, basically.
And so I think it was maybe Tony Stark who said that, people with powers need to be registered now, and they need to be kind of within the law. And Captain America thought, no, we need to have freedom, and so they that was the big fight.
Right. And that basically pitted these two Avengers against each other and kind of forced a lot of heroes to choose sides.
Split the Marvel universe in two.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your guys' opinion about them kind of seemingly going this route, from what it looks like they're going to go this route before they get to any of the Infinity Gauntlet stuff?
Well, what's interesting, at least in the comic world, is that right before Civil War, they're going to be doing No More Mutants again.
Okay.
And we know that Spider-Man's going to be taking up Logan's spot in Wolverine and the X-Men, so it's going to be Spider-Man and, like, the School of Mutants or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And in the photo that they released, it's Iron Man and Cap fighting over Spider-Man, who's in the Iron Spider costume. And I wonder if it has anything to do with the mutants being wiped out as this time.
Yeah. You want to know why they're doing that right now?
Well, I know why. We posted an article about how Marvel's at war with Fox, right?
Okay. I did not read that.
Yeah, one of our new writers, Mikael, he wrote a great article about how Marvel's kind of at war with Fox, and he was mainly talking about the Fantastic Four movie and how they're gonna quit doing the comic.
Yeah, it started there, and then
and then they released this news, and so I was like, wow, this is like full blown.
Yeah.
Fox is, God, they're dicks.
Yeah, it's and also tying along that news, there's a slight rumor that after Avengers 2, Joss Whedon might step down as the director of the Avengers franchise, and the top of the list for people to take his place are the Russo brothers, who obviously directed Cap 2. And so, I mean, as much as I love what Joss Whedon has done with the Avengers, I feel if they're really definitely going, with this whole Civil War storyline, and we can pretty much guarantee that Cap 3 is going to be like one of the closest tied movies to the Avengers 3. I think that whole transition would actually make a lot of sense. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure like how like if they start Civil War at Cap 3
Yeah.
and then go into Infinity Gauntlet, I'm guessing it's some kind of like in Cap 3 they're gonna fight and then in Avengers 3 they'll like come together to beat Thanos
Yeah.
and resolve their differences. That's what I'm guessing they're gonna aim for, but it seems like they're cramming it in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Russell, what do you think about this whole fiasco?
Well, personally, I'm just excited to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I've already tried to stop figuring out what they're doing because sometimes they
Yeah.
keep on doing stuff you can't predict, and
Right.
it's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy that they're actually making these movies now. Because when I
Right.
was a kid, I just never realized any of these would come true. So I'm just happy that they're doing Avengers. Imagine we're already talking about Avengers 3, and then
Yeah.
I'm sure by next year we'll be talking about Avengers 4 already, and
Right.
the next one. So overall, as long as they keep them, I don't care what's in the movie. I'm sure it's gonna be good anyway. Marvel seems to be doing most of their stuff right when it comes to the Marvel movies anyway.
They seem to be
So
doing okay.
yeah, they seem to be doing okay.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where that's going.
Yeah.
What's actually interesting for me now is what the war when they announced for DC their schedule or what they're planning for the next few years
Yeah,
from 2015 to 2020 or something like that.
yeah.
And that's interesting to see in contrast to what Marvel's doing. So
Yeah.
at least now they seem to have a plan. So that's a good thing.
I've actually
But who
I've
knows
got that
how
list.
they'll execute it? Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
actually got that list here because I wanted to bring that up. I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Go
Just
ahead.
Oh, cool.
because I don't know if Will or Piper, if you guys have seen this list.
I looked at it a little bit, but
Yeah,
shoot, they finally announced for sure they're going to be doing a Wonder Woman movie, right?
right, with
Yeah.
Gal
Yeah.
Gadot. They're going to be doing Suicide Squad right before that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
Right.
they're trying to get Ryan Gosling in for that. I'm not sure if he would play
Do
like
you,
Deadshot.
yeah. Do you know who else they're talking to about that movie?
They had
They,
4 big names, but I
they've
don't
also thrown
remember.
around Will
Yeah.
Smith,
Will Smith.
Tom Hardy, and then Margot Robbie, who was the beautiful blonde gal in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Right, okay. And
So
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 They've
then,
yes, so they're
they've
they're throwing some
apparently
big names out there.
approached Jensen Ackles for a part he turned down.
Okay.
But they're still trying to get him. That's why there's this whole how long is Supernatural going to go on because Marvel wants Jensen.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, then after Wonder Woman, they're going to have Justice League Part 1.
Mhm.
And then after that, they're going to do a Flash movie, which I'm not very happy about, just because I was really hoping for the crossover, the TV and movie crossover.
Yeah.
And they've
It's
tagged
Ezra.
Ezra Miller as, they haven't said if it's Barry Allen or which Flash it's going to be. He doesn't. I don't know. I don't think it was the best casting choice, but just like Batfleck, I mean, I'm going to give him a chance.
Sure.
Right.
And then after that, they're going to do Aquaman with Jason Momoa in 2018. 2019, they've got Shazam,
Shazam.
starring The Rock,
Shazam.
Rock is Black Adam. Yeah.
Black Rock.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
And then after Shazam, they're going to do Justice League Part 2 in 2019.
Two.
And then after that, they're going to be doing Cyborg. And then after that, they were doing another Green Lantern, a brand new version of Green Lantern, which I'm hoping they're actually going to take their time on
Yeah.
instead of trying to rush it like the last movie that we shouldn't speak of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, interesting, man. There's a lot of movies in there. There's a lot of even I guess you could say some more lesser known characters like Cyborg that maybe the general public is not familiar with. But I think they're gonna have a lot riding on Superman versus Batman as far as
Yeah, definitely.
how the rest of their cinematic universe comes to play. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, I guess.
Right.
But on that note, we are going to go ahead and go into our final thought. Russell, we'll give you a chance in a second. Final thoughts where we take like 60 seconds. You can plug whatever you'd like. Give us your websites, your Kickstarter information real quick, anything you want. Piper, how about you go first today with your awesome purple creaturehood.
Woo! Okay, real quick, I do want to say that the split comic that I rated, I guess, was done by two friends of mine.
Hmm.
So it's my opinion. It's might be biased, but I want to throw that out there that it was two friends of mine.
Hey, that's okay. You
The
gotta
the
support your people.
yeah, and I genuinely like it. So, other than that, you can find me at FizzGiggity on just about everything. You can find me at FizzGiggity on Xbox One, Twitter, Skype. I don't get on very much. Steam that I don't use because I'm broke. All that stuff. Just FizzGiggity. I'm everywhere, I guess. And check out my occasional articles and reviews on geekswithwives.com. I definitely prefer just writing opinion pieces. I seem to suck at like formatting reviews, but whatever. Read it anyway.
We can't all be Everett, right? Everett, what do you got for us?
Right.
Yeah, you can find me in pretty much in the comics section on geekswithwives.com. You can find me on Twitter at EverettGetsIt. And I just kind of spout off about random stuff. Like today, I'll probably be complaining about how many Doctor Strange casting suspects that they have.
Yeah.
Now it's Ewan McGregor.
No, well, it was Ewan McGregor. Now it's Ryan Gosling as well. Like they're fighting over Ryan
I
Gosling.
saw that. Yeah.
I've got a list here of all of the Doctor Strange people, and they had like Keanu Reeves on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
I just heard about that. I think yesterday.
I was trying to do my best, like Keanu Reeves Doctor Strange impression, like the fangs of Farrell.
I'm totally Doctor Strange. Wow.
I'm gonna cast these demons out, righteous. It's funny like how Keanu Reeves impressions haven't ever been updated after Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
True. And what kind of show would it be if Everett and I didn't do some kind of impression?
That's right, come on.
Yes, there we go.
Right. Talk to Russell. What do you have going on for us, Russell?
Well, basically just want to invite everybody to check out GrayWalkers Purgatory on Kickstarter. Also, you can check out information on our website, GrayWalkers.com. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Wildcard. That's WYLDEKARDE. So hopefully, I'm always there. I talk a little when I can, but mostly about the game and the comic books and pretty much the stuff I'm into. So, and thanks everybody for having me here at the show. So.
Awesome, man. It was super awesome having you. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about the awesome project you guys got going on. Well, guys, as always, you guys need to be checking out the website. We have stuff going on there daily, super daily.
Okay.
I mean, we got reviews on comic books. Sometimes we get reviews on toys from me. We have cosplayers. We've got all kinds, man. So check it out. We want to be your super awesome site for all things geek. We've been talking about it forever. You're going to be sick of it because we're going to keep talking about it some more. This weekend is finally ZapCon, which is a local con here in Fresno. Myself and Mr. Casey Walsh will be there representing the Geeks with Wives and Capes crew. We're going to have a panel.
Oh,
so if you're local and you're going to be checking out ZapCon, our panel is at 2:30 on Saturday in the Clovis room, which is upstairs. We're going to be talking a little bit about, kind of stuff we normally talk on the show, but for the most part, we're going to be giving away a lot of awesome prizes. We've got trade paperbacks from Image and Dark Horse. We've got a graded, sealed #1 of Judge Dredd that we're going to be giving away. We've got T-shirts. We got posters. Come out. You have a good shot of getting something if you come out and listen to us rant about weird, lame stuff. All right. So just be there. And then at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be hosting the first annual ZapCon cosplay contest, and Mr. Walsh will be one of the esteemed judges. He said he will take bribes. Money works. Food definitely will work for him, I'm guessing. But anyways, yeah. So We'd love to have you out, so please come join us. As always, also you can check us out on Twitter at GWW Capes Crew, and you can find me at Darth Sparrow on Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to my awesome host. Thank you again to Russell.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
I'm so sorry.
What are you gonna say?
Can I plug a couple more, two more things?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For one, the Kickstarter is also on the Geeks with Wives site,
Okay.
so
Gotcha.
you can go there to access it. Yes, you're welcome. I was paying attention.
Yes.
Also, for any Ohio people, all two of you, that are listening. I'm going to be at ZapCon, representing Geeks with Wives. I mean, not ZapCon.
I was about to say,
Epicon.
No, are you
Derp.
coming here?
That'll be awesome. Derpity
Yeah.
derp. I'm going to be at Epicon. It's at Montgomery County Fairgrounds. This is their second time doing this, so they're a baby convention. They're just getting started. It is all things geek. There's no particular theme, and I will be Lulu, among maybe other things, walking around that weekend. It would be cool to run into some cool, people.
Yeah, some of our Ohio fans.
Yes, and I don't have anything to give away, but I will still take money.
Awesome. Thank you, Piper. Thank you for throwing that last minute bit of news there. We appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So anyways, guys, for the whole crew, we thank you. Have a good night, and
Thank
as
you.
always, we will catch you on the geek side.